Hey guys, this is Gary here from Not Again Podcast. How have you guys been? I hope you guys are doing fine. I hope you guys are doing all well. My name is Gary. Welcome to my show. Welcome to my podcast. How's your week, guys? I would like to first welcome. For those who are new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you check out this podcast. I'm so glad that you found out this podcast and go, yeah, maybe I should listen to it. All right, thank you. For those who listen to the second time, I'm so glad that you guys are listening to it. You guys give it a chance. You guys think that hey, this podcast is good enough, and you decide to give it a chance. I'm so glad. Thank you. Right, thanks. I would like to first apologize for to be a little bit late for this week episode, right? Because I know, all right, there are people who just complain to me like, hey, can you just be a little bit more consistent in your timing? I think I should do that. I think I should be a little bit more consistent. But I have a proper reason, a proper excuse, I guess. Can I say that? Like, I have remedial training for my national service, all right? Or in Singapore, we have this conscription army thing, right? Every guy reach under a certain age, and we have to go through either the army, the police force, or or being a paramedic, right? I've went through the army. I'm not sure about what's the experience like in the police force or the paramedic side of things. But in Singapore, after we go through national service, all right, we have to go through simultaneously. We have to go through the individual physical proficiency test, all right, or the IPPT in Singapore. It's a physical fitness test. We have to go through like a few stations. If I'm not wrong, it's 3 stations. We have to do push-ups, we have to do sit-ups, and we have to do like running, right? For I think 2.4 kilometers, if I'm not wrong, right? And after that, you define. You see whether you pass or you fail. All right. For those like there are 3 categories, like 4 categories for pass. It's like gold, silver, pass with incentive, and just pass. Right. Like as you know, right? Gold, silver, and pass with incentive. You get money, right? And for pass, they won't badger. They won't able to badger you anymore. I failed the individual physical fitness test. I can't do it. I've given up in trying. I think that I won't be able to pass this for my lifetime, or I'm not sure. Like it is just those things that you know that you won't pass. It's like you just those. It's just those things that you know. Well, maybe that's not for me. All right, this is one of those things, but it's mandatory. Right, we have to go through this every year, or at least I have to go through this every year. That's why I can't pass it. Right, and I can't pass it. I have to go and do it. And when I can't do it, I fail. I got to do it, like got to do 20 remedial trainings, right? To do exercises so that I can make sure I pass. Like they are being very hopeful that I can at least pass, right? After that 20 remedial trainings, all right. I chose to do that, right? I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure that it's okay to say that I've tried hard in the test. I'm not sure that it's okay that I've put my heart and soul in the remedial training, right? I've put my heart and soul in the exercises for in that 20 episodes of remedial training, and this is my first one for this year. So yeah, I put my heart and soul in it. I guess I've tried to exercise, tried to try my best in everything, but yeah, things don't work out well. I'm not sure that I'll pass for this year's IPPT, right? Individual the physical fitness test. I'm not sure if I can do it, if I can pass. I'm not putting a lot of hopes up. All right. So yeah, I think yeah, and that's the reason why I'm a little bit late, because I've scheduled one of those tests, which I thought that I can do it. I can make it in time. That's a dumb reason to do so. There's a dumb reason to think it that way. So like I say, it's totally my fault. All right, it's totally my fault to think that I can be early enough to upload the new episodes, to upload a new episode out. All right. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I'm sorry. I guess I'm sorry. To be a bit late. I would like to tell you guys that in this for the next episode, right? It may be, I mean, upload early next week, for next Saturday. I may upload it on Friday, all right, because I'll be out of the country on Saturday. All right, I'll be going to Australia on from the 24th of June to the 2nd of July. All right, so and from the 3rd of July to the 9th of July, I'll be in Sydney. All right, so for those who are listening those who are listening this in Melbourne and Sydney, do do feel free to say hi. I know there's not much listeners listening to this, but it would be nice if one of you decides to say, yeah, this guy has a voice that's good enough. I wanted to see what does he look like in real life. Do do drop me a direct message from the Facebook page. All right, yeah, I have a Facebook page. All right, go look for us at my Facebook thing. My Facebook ID is at Not Again Podcast. Or hook me up through my Twitter. All right, it's at I_AM_GARY_TAN. All right, do hook us up. Do send a tweet. Do say hi. All right. So yeah. So yeah. So all I'm trying to say is the next episode will be out early. All right. I'm being a responsible guy here. I'm trying to be a responsible adult here. I hope that this podcast makes me a responsible person. Okay. I hope that this really will make me a better person. I'm not sure. All right. So yeah, and I'd like to tell everyone that I have this podcast is on iTunes as well. All right. Do check us. Do search Not Again Podcast on iTunes. All right. It will be every week's episode will be uploaded as well. All right. Do search for Not Again Podcast. The author is my name, Gary Tan, GARYTAN. The link, the Facebook, the iTunes link. I think I'll try to put it up every week on the description on the description as well. All right, do check us. Do look out for it. All right, go subscribe it if you want. Do put some rating and reviews if you want. I know one of you guys. All right, one of my friends decided to put a rating, but I can't read it yet because there's not enough rating. So yeah, if you want to do leave something there as well, it'll be nice. It'll be nice. I can at least know what to work on it as well. All right. So in this week episode, right, we have a guest called Deborah Emmanuel. All right, and she's the nicest woman. All right. She's a poet in Singapore. Right? She's very famous for talking about whatever she's very famous for writing poetry in Singapore. All right, she's a very famous poet, very influential poet in Singapore. All right, and we talk a lot about a lot of stuff. Right. Okay. Initially, when I contacted her, I'm actually very afraid. Right. Okay. Deborah Emmanuel is a good friend. All right. Although there are some things like initially before I talked to her, all right, I thought that there are some things that when I tell her, we might not be agreeing on. Right. There's a lot like I'm not a huge fan of feminism. All right, and I think she is one. I'm not sure whether she's declared like openly that she's one, but I think that she's one, and I'm because there are things that I don't agree with feminism, right? And I'm not sure whether anything wrong that comes out from my mouth may anger her, right? So, but it was a good chat. It was a great chat. It turns out to be very different, all right. It turns out to be a very fun chat that I had talked to her about. I would say it's a more meaningful chat this time around. It's a great conversation that I enjoy talking to her. Right, I love talking to her. She's the nicest one of the nicest person that I've ever met. Right, she's one of the many nice people that I've ever seen. So yeah, do check her out. She's very good with she's doing poetry. She's doing poems. Do check out her poems as well. Go to YouTube, listen to her poetry. We talk a lot of stuff. We talk about dealing with feelings. We're dealing with emotions. We talk about time in prison. I guess what causes her to go into prison. She had a book about it. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to know, right? It'll be nice to, and yeah, it's a good conversation to have, right? It makes me know more about her as a person. It makes me know more about her as a friend. I know her deeper as a friend now. And we talk about dealing with anger issues. We talk about dealing with negative feelings. All right. Which there are times that I'm comfortable in. All right, and get to know her, talking to her. It felt better. It felt good. It felt that at least I would learn how to deal with them or see them that's there. I guess it's good to acknowledge that negative feelings is not actually as what I thought it should be. All right. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. All right. So do check her out. Do listen to our conversation with Deborah Emmanuel. All right. Do listen to our conversation, and if you really do enjoy what we have chatted, do check out her poems as well on Facebook. Right. You can search for her, Deborah Emmanuel. Yeah. So do listen to our conversation and enjoy the conversation between me and Deborah Emmanuel. Right? Enjoy. Actually, I want to start with Dave. Like I've told you, right? You have a very mystical character.
Mystical, like a unicorn.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're like the character that a writer has in mind, like an amateur writer has in mind, but
Yeah.
you don't know how to figure out to pinpoint how to put it in an action story,
Okay.
or in a spy story.
Oh yeah, like you mean how do you describe this character? Interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
I've never seen myself that way.
I don't know, but
Thanks.
because you got this. I'm not sure that I know a lot about you. Like
Oh, yeah.
but I got fragments of ideas.
Yeah.
You're a poet. You've went to you went through like pretty. Your poems are pretty dark.
Yeah.
And intense a lot of times.
Yeah.
Uh
They're not that. Yeah. Sometimes they're dark. You're right.
huh.
I definitely used to write a lot more dark poetry, and then it turned into more, like, I guess, poetry about social issues that I think are important to talk about. So when I first started writing, it was definitely me writing poetry to heal myself from like all of the more painful things I'd experienced. And I would say, like, whenever I'm experiencing a new painful thing, just that it doesn't happen that much more these days. Whenever I'm experiencing a new painful thing, writing a poem is definitely one way that I deal with it, which is why it ends up that there's a lot of darkness out there, right, in my writing, because those are the times that I really need to write. But then it moved into the phase of my life where I didn't actually need to write anymore, because I had kind of dealt with a lot of the stuff that I needed to deal with, and kind of like detach myself from the trauma. So then I had to find another reason to write, and then the more that I wrote, the more it became clear, like, what I thought was important and what I thought needed to be changed or addressed, and I just decided to talk about that instead. of my own shit, if that makes sense.
It doesn't make sense, right? I think that it's because like I also listen to a lot of your stuff, like the I Love You.
Oh yeah.
I listen to I Told You.
I was told.
I Was Told, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, so that's the I Was Told is actually one of the first poems I ever wrote to be shared. And I mean, it's because it was like pretty soon after I came out of prison. So I wrote I Was Told, I think in like 2011 or something.
Oh, that's
Which was like a while ago. And then when I decided to publish Rebel Rights, which is my creative nonfiction work about the year that I spent in the Singapore prison system, which happened in 2009. Yeah. So when I decided to 2008. So when I decided to publish Rebel Rights, I decided to use I Was Told, which is the first poem that I wrote about prison. I decided to share it as part of the fundraising campaign.
it feels like you've gone through a lot, like a lot of stuff. Like you have learned. I think you've coped a lot more better compared to average people.
Maybe, I don't know, because I do think that actually in the grander scheme of things, I still have it easy. You know, like if I considered all of like the wives of soldiers, like who have been left behind, or children that have been killed in genocides, like, or siblings that have been lost in genocides, and just places where there's extreme war or discontent or poverty. Like, I mean, I think what I've been through is like nothing compared to that, you know. It's just that I've been given the intellectual tools to be able to like discuss or dissect what happened to me, and that's what makes it different, because I'm able to share my journey with other people. And there's lots of people who have a way more difficult, I think more challenging journey, but they are not heard, and they don't really have even maybe the ability to articulate how they feel the same way that I do. So in that way, I'm really blessed, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
Because as a comic,
Yeah.
I do talk a lot about dark stuff too, and I'm not sure whether it sounds really condescending when I try to breach across the topic. I was like, because I had a bit about like going to a prostitute.
Oh wow.
And while I didn't go there like intentionally,
Yeah.
but I went in there
Accidentally.
accidentally. It's a massage parlor.
Yeah.
I thought it's a legitimate place.
Yeah.
And I went in there. The masseuse was asking for, hey, do you want to end off with
Special ending.
special ending? Yeah, and
Or a happy ending, right?
oh yeah,
It's called
a happy ending. And it goes a very weird way, because I grew up with a family full of women.
Yeah.
It's only me and my dad.
Yeah.
Are the only guys in the family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of sisters.
And I was being brought up, I was just saying that if you go to a prostitute, you accept favors from them.
Yeah.
A sex worker, you accept favors from them.
Yeah.
And you pay money for those favors.
Yeah.
It's you are I'm actually like dehumanizing them and condoning violence to them.
Yeah.
But
Completely.
yeah.
Wow, that's super cool you said that, Gary.
Yeah. But in the end, she was begging to do so because she needs to feed her family.
Yeah, so she needed to. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Because I've often been in the situation where you can look at an issue completely ethically, like without any like empathy. And I think this is what happens in discussions about ethics a lot, that people decide the best way is to be objective, right? But I think when you consider or empathize with both sides of the story, in any ethical dilemma that involves two people, you can kind of find a reason why both people are allowed to do what they're doing or feel what they feel, you know.
I think that we try that there's a lot of people who try to put it objectively
Yeah.
so that they can view things and say, hey, this is my point of view.
And this is the truth.
Yeah. but when people look at the other direction itself,
Yeah.
it just feels so weird. It feels like those ladies can't find any other jobs anymore if they step into prostitution. It's hard for them to get a new job anymore. They'll get, so if colleagues find out, they will get sexually harassed, even larger, like even harder than the female colleagues in the
Yeah.
same work in the same company.
Yeah.
So it feels like that the whole dilemma thing is kind of scary.
It is scary. Yeah. But also, I think what happens a lot of the time with women is that, well, we've been taught that our value lies in our ability to please men. Like, from a young age, I think a lot of women receive this message all over the world, which is, you have to learn how to be a good wife, otherwise nobody's going to want you and you're going to be useless. Or you have to look attractive, otherwise nobody's going to want you and you're going to be useless. So the feedback that you receive a lot of the time when you try to do other things sometimes can just lead back to the same place of, like, you are not valid unless you are attached to a man. And I think in that way also it becomes easy to see worth, like monetary value, like in relation to how you can please a man, and that's where prostitution becomes so normalized, right? But we need to take the system down. Like, it's the system that is the problem, the normalization of kind of female servitude, when in fact we should be serving each other, you know, or not serving each other at all and just being independent individuals.
But okay, but this kind of, I'm not sure that this sounds really condescending again.
Yeah.
But I feel that, like, as a guy, as a man point
Yeah.
of view, I've grown up with with my friends full, like, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah. So it pretty much, like, we are cool with female, like, with girls hanging around.
Yeah.
we
Meaning you see women as equal.
we do see them as
Yeah.
equals,
Yeah.
right? And most of my heroes are, some of my heroes are women,
Female,
are females as well. Like, and I think that, is it because, and I'm not sure whether is it because it's like a misconceived idea of how a woman should, like, do a guy.
Oh yeah, I think for some people it's something that you can't detach yourself from or grow out of, you know. Like, I think it's all about the family a lot of the time, right? Like, the stories that you get told by your parents or in your family environment kind of, like, persist as you get older. And I don't think we're out of the sexist culture yet, you know. I don't think we're out of the traditional idea that men have to be this way and women have to be this way, you know. Like, I still think that those gender biases and those roles are very much there, especially in our Asian culture. I mean, slowly it's changing for sure. I meet more and more young people every day who are breaking out of the mold and doing what they want, and standing up for the rights of each other's genders. But I think we've still got a long way to go. And until we get there, there's still going to be things like prostitution, which happens mostly with women, right? And I think that's the problem. Like, if there were both men and women in equal measure who had decided to kind of give their bodies in service to other people, I think that would be completely cool, you know. If it was just like the norm and that was another thing that people could sell because they chose to, then sweet. But a lot of the time like the story you told me, women end up being prostitutes because they have no other choice, and the system is like that. So they commodify their bodies, or like turn their bodies, the use of their bodies, into money, for to please other people.
I,
I got lost a bit because I got distracted by
Yeah.
the music.
I think that in order to use your body to pay for the bills
Yeah.
itself, it's really it's a scary.
It's scary. It's super scary.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think sex is or the bodily pleasure itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether is it because of my conservative values.
I feel like it's sacred.
Yeah, it's sacred.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that you give. It feels like there's an not just like a physical vulnerability in
Yeah.
there. There's an emotional vulnerability
Yes.
that, hey, I'm safe with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. It feels like people kind of like don't get some people don't get that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm not sure about having like body play like sex with
Yeah.
with people kind of scared. Like I don't know. I haven't had penetrated sex before. Right. And I'm not sure is it because I'm very afraid to take that step.
Yeah.
I haven't found the person that.
The right person.
Yeah.
I think that's very reasonable, but I'll tell you honestly that like, it can like take a while for people to get to the point where they understand how sacred sex is, because at the beginning, even as like, I guess like adolescence, when you're beginning to like think about these things and you can't control yourself because your hormones are firing everywhere. The first like I guess exposure that a lot of people have is pornography, right? And pornography is all about turning sex into money, right? Like and I think as long as you grow up with this idea that like sex is something that can be valued monetarily and watched, like that you could pay for it, like I think that is the problem, because what our culture has done is put prices on so many things that should not be priced, and until we move away from that as well, like we're going to be kind of stuck in the prostitution and stuck in the loss of the sanctity of the intimate connection, you know, because we grow up not really understanding that it's sacred. We grow up thinking like it's just something we do like animals, you know, like and the videos you see are not people making love, they're fucking, like,
Yeah.
right?
It's the mechanical process that scares people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of safe. I don't. It feels like because I grew up on around the age of pornography. I still watch once in a while.
Yeah.
Because I have to go through like a like I can't be like imagine like.
Yeah.
I don't really know
Because
what
you've
to
got nothing to imagine.
yeah,
right?
that's why.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
so it's really kind of scary to have the idea. I'm not sure whether that destroy my idea of physical intimacy and emotional intimacy
Yeah.
as much as it should have, because if it does, I've read past the level.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I'm not sure what will. And and I think that having intimacy to someone or something, it's scary. I'm not sure that I'm very easy to open up to intimacy alone.
Yeah.
I'm okay, like I'm okay to speak to a room full of people.
Yeah.
Being like hopefully making fun of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I can do that.
It's easy for you to be in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
but like when you're with one person and it's, I think it's vulnerability maybe as well, right? Vulnerability is scary, like and I understand this also from, I mean, even when I'm on stage in front of people, there are moments when I feel like I need to protect myself, you know, like even when I'm sharing a poem that is so like so intimate in a way, right? There are moments when I can't emotionally connect to it at the point that I'm saying it,
Mm.
and I have to perform,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it turns into more of a performance instead of me being truthful.
Mm.
And those are the moments when I'm feeling like afraid of being emotional. Because sometimes being emotional in front of people can make you feel like kind of out of control, or like, well, it's just vulnerability. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Basically, is what I was saying.
I know, but I know I feel that it's safer to go up on stage to be vulnerable to a
Yeah.
group of people
Yeah,
than I'm not sure, is it because of the fourth wall or is it because
Yeah.
I think it's harder to open up and be vulnerable to a person, say I it's harder for me to open up to my parents
yeah.
compared to a bunch of strangers.
Yeah,
I feel that because a bunch of strangers don't know me that
yeah,
well.
because they've seen you grow up and everything.
Yeah,
right?
and they have a set of like history. They have a set of standard. Like my parents have a set of standards to back. Like, oh, you are not that fucked up yet, or you are that fucked up, or
Yeah.
or you have surpassed the level of fucked upness.
Yeah.
And talk to a stranger and go, okay, and they won't continue talking about it anymore. They wouldn't if they wouldn't start talking about it like he said it. All right, move on.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that being vulnerable is so much more easier
Yeah.
compared to talking to my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole like pattern
Uh-huh.
that you have created with them, right? That what I find is when I spend time with my family, I have to work really, really hard at staying true to myself, and not slipping back into the kinds of behaviors that are like that have been established over time. You know, like apologizing, or like not being completely open because I'm afraid of hurting their feelings. It's taken a little bit of time, but like I think now I'm in the place where I can just be real with my family, which is quite nice. Like, but it took a long time to get there because I was afraid of hurting them a lot of the time or disappointing them, like you said, like because you don't want them to think that you're fucked up. Yeah.
Like I think that's the reason why, or that's like most of us hoping not to do it. It's like we you brought us here.
Yeah.
Our parents brought us here. It's if it starts from happiness or starts from disappointment, it has to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It has to reach to a point where, hey, I'm trying to grow up here.
Yeah.
Like I've grew up. I've gone through like a certain point or like
Yeah.
a certain level of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether I've matured to your expectations.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that I've reached. If I'm not, I wish that we somewhere near.
Yeah.
At least that, hey, you know what, I can, you can talk to your relatives with at least some pride in me,
Yeah.
some acceptance in me.
Yeah.
At least that's what I feel about my dad, because my dad, I don't think my dad is like an outright, he's proud of me, but he doesn't show it.
Oh, I know those.
So basically it's like during family, during relatives
Yeah.
gathering, family gathering,
Yeah.
my dad would say, oh, he's a dude, and downplay like stuff. But whenever like there are times where that they talk about, and he managed to show that pride in me, I'm like, oh, okay, that's really good. At least I'm somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that he even does that. That's nice. Cool.
I'm okay. I want to go back to I'm not sure whether you are okay with opening up, like
Yeah, it's
the-
okay.
the prison period.
Oh yeah, sure.
Mm.
But everyone wants to talk about that. Like I wrote a book about it. Read the book.
But still it's so like not everyone open up like
Yeah.
through like through a book itself.
Yeah, I understand. Not everyone will read the book also. I understand. Yeah, sure, we can talk about it.
Okay, I want to start is like how did it happen?
So at the time I was 19 years old. I had just dropped out of LaSalle where I was doing my acting degree. So I finished the first year and then I dropped out because I couldn't pay the fees. So technically I deferred, but I actually didn't see any way of going back because I didn't know how I would save the money. But I still deluded myself to think that I could. And so after I dropped out, I found a job working at like a many star hotel at the front desk. And while I was doing that, like I was kind of lost and kind of sad, right? Because I kind of felt like, where are my dreams going? Like, what is my life? Like, how am I going to be what I had felt I wanted to be? And also because I had some like kind of a more confusing home environment, I was trying to escape it as well. So my priority wasn't excelling. My priority wasn't being the best person that I could be. My priority was a little bit of escape. So yeah, I was like hanging out with different people, like, and going to a lot of parties. And at some point, like I was engaging in substance use. And then I was at a bar one night and they came in, the Central Narcotics Bureau, to arrest the DJ. And I happened to be there sitting at his table, even though I didn't know who he was. Like I was with a bunch of other people, but they arrested the whole table and tested us, and everyone was positive. Yeah, and that's the rest is history.
Okay, I'm interested in the idea of I'm gonna ask like what was a dream? What was a dream at that point of time? Because you talk about dreams and
Yeah, I wanted to perform. I just knew I wanted to perform.
But do you know what you want to perform at that point of time?
No, so that I just knew that being in acting school was propelling me towards what I wanted, but I didn't have a clear vision of what it was at the time. You know, I just knew that there was this need in me to express myself through performance, and it started like really young. But even without performance, like with writing as well, like I was writing poems since I was a child, like, and through my teenage years, like early teenage years, whenever I had like kind of conflicting things going on in my mind, like the way that I would deal with them would be by writing poems. So it was always really natural, and so I knew that the dream was just kind of in that same direction, you know. But no, I didn't have a clear idea of what it was, which is also, I guess, another reason why it was so easy for me to get lost. Because when you don't really know exactly where the destination is, you can't clearly walk in that direction.
I feel that people who know what the direction is also get lost.
Yeah.
But in a very different sense. Like there are some people so caught up in the system.
Yeah.
They got lost in the system. They don't know what they really want in life. They all know that, okay, I gotta survive, right?
Or they forgot what they wanted
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah. So I think that it's I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it's okay to get lost.
I think it should be okay to get lost, but I don't think that we exist in a system that encourages us to get lost. I don't think that's what Singapore is about.
I think that it's
Or even cities, you know, like I guess the main idea that we've been brought up with these days is like, know your goals, know your plan, you know, that's the only way to success. Like
but we still don't know what our plan is. When it first come out, I always like to believe that we come out like with a blank slate,
yeah.
not knowing what we want like in the first place. Like it's we have to try everything out and then go, oh yeah, maybe this is not
maybe that's not for
the,
me.
yeah. Yeah, but it feels like because you're talking about like in the early like when you're young you started writing like poems and it feels like it's another form of escape. Like is it hard that do you have to find it harder, and do you find it like it's harder, it's like substance abuse, right? I'm not sure that is it okay to say that where what there are some drugs that you have to take, you get to take harder and harder or more to get high. Like is it the same for escapism?
Escapism. Yeah, I guess like I don't know, the way that I see it is that lots of people have different ways of escaping. Or instead of using the word escaping, I'll use the word dealing, right? Like and I think like some of it is clearly escape, and some of it is more is more about dealing. And I do think that there's even people who are escaping / dealing with an obsession with riding bicycles, for example, or like an obsession with collecting handbags, you know, like all of these things. Like as long as you are obsessed with something, or you're using it as a tool for you to be happy, when in fact you should just be finding happiness and peace in yourself, I think that's already detrimental. It's just that there's some forms of escape / dealing which are not allowed.
I think we have romanticized the idea of happiness and peace a little bit too much. I'm not sure though. I'm like having the idea of happiness and peace is it's
maybe contentment. Maybe the word
Contentment,
contentment
maybe.
is what I should have used.
because I don't know, I feel like having it feels like the most miserable people is the one that propel society forward. It's like this is what I like to think where because being miserable you know where the problems are.
Yeah.
You can find the problems in the society itself. But in order to have to be a happy person or to find peace with oneself, like I said, you have to find contentment. You have to oversee the flaws. You have to. This is what I think where it's. I'd rather be is slightly miserable.
You'd rather be like a tortured artist.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I totally understand that sentiment. And that's what I was for a long time. But then a couple of years ago, I started meditating, and it's become like quite a big part of my life. And once I started meditating, I came to realize how attached I was to my pain, because of this idea that I felt like it made me more interesting or a better artist. But the more that I meditated, the more I let go of the pain. And then I started to worry. I was like, well, if nothing bothers me anymore, then how am I going to keep making art, you know? But it didn't have to be that. It just had to be that, like, well, what happened was I slowly started like deconstructing all these patterns that I built up like over the years through my life, like and destructive patterns that made me this tortured artist, right? But it was kind of liberating to get rid of those patterns and realize that now I can just write what I want to write because I think it's important, instead of being controlled by the need to express how much pain I'm experiencing, especially because one of my main goals is to make a positive impact, you know, and to like to be part of the solution, not the problem. And I think that when I was wrapped up in my own trauma, I was still a part of the problem because I wasn't able to love people properly. I wasn't able to give without the expectation of return. Like, so yeah, for me, like, I think it is quite important for artists or the people who are expressing themselves or talking about things to have experienced the extremes of emotion. But I think it's also our responsibility to overcome those experiences and see them from a distance. Otherwise, they control us too much, and we can't truly be free. And I think freedom is like invaluable, and I think we should all be as free as possible. And sometimes we can't be free when we're just like gripped by the past in that way.
I think that it's also a way to deal with the pain itself. That I don't. It's because I'm still trying to learn how to deal with anger.
Yeah.
I was I'm not sure that is it okay to say this, but I think I was pretty a positive guy.
Yeah.
Like when I was very young.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens in between where once you're young, once you grow up,
Yeah.
like during secondary school days,
Yeah.
like during primary school days, secondary school days,
Yeah.
people can be tough. Like
Yeah.
like your peers will be like pretty much an asshole all the time.
Yeah. I
Pretty much,
felt that.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
And I'm the weird kid. I'm not the jock. I'm not the like I've people that's smaller than me in size,
Yeah.
kicking my ass,
Yeah.
and not in a good way.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how getting your. Oh yeah, sometimes you can have someone kicking your ass in a good way.
Yeah.
Okay.
like you have a group of people that's jabbing you and then push you forward, and then there are some people just go like they're bullies.
Yeah.
Like I always got bullied.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it's usually with the jokes that like are they called jokes? I'm not sure whether
Jocks. Yeah, I know, like a
yeah.
sports kids.
But some of them aren't really sports kids though, but they're just assholes, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Alright.
yeah. So pretty much I've grown up from there, and I'm still trying to learn how to deal with that, because there's a lot of pent up anger. I guess I've got a lot of pent up anger in me,
Yeah.
and can't, and sometimes it's hard to move forward from.
Yeah. I have found that when our self-worth is dependent on the validation of other people, when other people's opinion can affect how we see ourselves, like I mean it's quite inevitable, like especially like I mean during the years when you're growing up, right? Like it can be damaging totally when you feel like you're like, hey, I'm not that bad, like I think I'm kind of cool, like, but everybody else is like, haha, you're a loser. Like that can have long-term effects. So I totally get it. But I think also the only way out of that is for the person who is being called a loser to find a way to believe that they are not a loser themselves, no matter what anybody else says. And that's the hard part, right? Because when what people think of you has been like the basis for your self-understanding for such a long time, like it's hard to get out of that. But it can't be that. It can't be that other people tell you who you are. You have to decide who you are for yourself and be proud of it.
I think it's also because it's hard to be it's hard to like it's like I say it's all blank slate, like
Yeah.
So I guess that's why been looking at things this way for quite some time, learning how to deal with things. It's your self-worth. If I base my own self-worth is based on the words of other people,
Yeah.
that's how we know how things are being done, and weirdly enough, like I'm get to meet my schoolmates, like the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and some of them are my bullies, where they
Yeah.
become like nice person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just totally weirded me out. I was like, wait the minute, you want like
Yeah,
like kick-
because you remember them being
Yeah,
a different
yeah.
person. Yeah.
and I became friends with them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's a way to get closure,
Yeah.
and that's a way to deal with things.
Yeah.
So
But still, the memory of those feelings,
yeah.
like, is still there, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the anger comes
Mm.
from. Mm.
and I suppose coming from your childhood itself, do you find closure easier now?
Yeah, I was so angry for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I was really angry with my dad, especially,
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that he did, because I saw him do it. You know, it
No.
was like, it was, yeah, painful to watch, and painful to see my mother hurt. So I was really angry for a long time, and then when I started meditating, I realized truly how angry I was, and how much sadness I had. And then the more I meditated, the more I understood that, like, if I really want to make a positive impact and, like, love people, and encourage other people to love each other, like, then I can't be holding on to this anger, because it was just hurting me and hurting other people, because whenever I had, like, negativity and put it on someone else, like, that wasn't fully, like, they didn't deserve that, you know. Like, they were just, like, the target for my past trauma, and I didn't want to be that anymore. So yeah, I mean, it became quite easy to let go after I realized that. And now when I see my dad, I'm just filled with love, you know. Like, I mean, we have, like, a really nice relationship now. Like, I see him, like, once every few weeks, or, like, you know, not nearly enough maybe, but also every time I see him, I'm really happy to see him.
I think that it's good to reach your point where time you just, hey, you know what, everything is in the past right now.
Yeah.
It's easier to it's easier to have a relationship that way. But talking about, like, putting, like, negativity up on stage, right? It's I don't know, I feel like performing, like, in whatever way,
Yeah.
like, you write through a play, you poetry, stories. For me, I'll try to write in comedy. When you have words that put it on stage, you can either make it entertaining, or you can make it, like, as, like, that's this thing I want to share. There's this thing that I want to put on stage. I want you to know. I need you to feel it. It's important to me. That's what I'm putting up on stage right now. I don't despise the word entertainment. I personally don't like the word entertainment, but I think that being an art form, it's, as an art itself, I like to use it as words, like, this really matters to me.
Yeah.
You need to know this.
Yeah.
This, I need you to know that sometimes it's not all right
Yeah.
for me to deal with this. I need you to be with me right now.
Yeah.
It's a kind of, like, hang on to the last vibe where I hope that we can connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that is it okay. I'm not sure that sometimes negativity helps a lot, where it can find closure in me. It can find closure in someone else. I've done gigs, and there are people who came up to me, like, say, hey, I really love your set.
Yeah.
I find that you are funny, and I got and I'm really doing very well.
Yeah.
I got clinically depressed. I'm clinically depressed. I'm like, there's someone there that relates to me. That's something that's
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know, it felt like there's this thing that connects with people like that, just makes me feel, hey, you're not alone. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Negativity doesn't really kill that much of a, it isn't that much of a, how should I say, that painful thing after all. It isn't really that bad after all.
Yeah.
But it kind of, like, it bridges the whole, the whole, like, there are people who might like may go to the extra step, may turn into a person that we don't want to see, but they get into, but once you go, oh, that there's one person on stage that opens up, that that use it like
That understands
yeah,
me.
that understands me.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, one reason why I have felt like the darkness of my poems or my songs or whatever,
Mm.
like that they're okay,
Mm.
because I think we have, like you said, and like okay, well maybe you didn't say that, but in a way maybe you did. I think we have an obsession with like positivity,
Mm.
and positivity being a sign of progress, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. And I don't think it has to be that. I think as long as we're like recognizing and acknowledging our emotions, no matter what they are, like that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be that we force ourselves to be positive all the time, but I think we do need to have a little bit of distance when we are feeling really strong emotions, enough for us to like not be controlled by them to behave differently from how we actually want to behave. And I think that's really important. Okay, so going back to the putting negative stuff on stage, like I had an album that I just released with my Australian band. It's called Samudra Puja, and it's an offering to the ocean, and a lot of it is really sad. And when we did our first live show, I suddenly realized how sad it was. But everyone was like super into it. And after the show was over, like I talked to a few people about this feeling that I had, that I was like concerned because it's all so sad. And the feedback that I got a lot of the time was like, but yeah, it's like we appreciated it. It was like, it was cathartic, you know? And I think when you're exposing yourself that way on stage, like it can feel good for other people to feel also like, hey, if I'm sad, it's okay, you know, like because this person is sad and I'm listening to them, and it seems all right that they're sad. Like I'm not judging them badly. Like I don't think that they're messed up because they're sad on stage. Like, so yeah, I think we should be allowed to feel whatever we want to feel.
I think negative emotions also bond us better, like as people.
Yeah.
I think that happiness is like a delusional kind of like. It feels like a little bit more like a mask where, to be happy, I think like happiness is a destination point where it reaches its peak, where when you're happy, you reach the apex of a movie, like you reach at the end of the movie, right? When you have a sadness when you have a negative feeling, it bonds people together because you're working to a feeling of happiness, to a feeling of emotional.
Because you got something to work towards.
Yeah. And it feels better this way. It feels like it's a good thing to work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. That's my point of view where because I grew up with a lot of negative emotional entertainment.
Yeah.
My favorite songs are all sad songs.
Yeah.
My favorite movies are usually tragedy.
Yeah.
My favorite plays are usually tragedies as well.
Yeah.
My favorite comics are all angry, bitter
Yeah.
guys usually.
Yeah.
Because I guess a lot of male comics are bitter and angry, but you talk about female comics, some of them are angry, like there are more angry female comics coming up. They learn how to do stuff, instead of just, hey, look, I'm a woman,
Yeah.
and here's a punchline about vaginas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so it feels like that there are some that like there's this comic called Jan Kirkman,
Yeah.
where she talks about like dealing with dealing with growing older as an older lady,
Yeah.
the things that happens to her, and
Yeah.
and she and it kind of like how she deals with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's okay to have negative feelings. That most of my entertainment, or most of the things that I grew up, most of the art I grew up with, are usually very negative in nature. Like my music, my favorite music are sad songs initially.
Yeah.
Like I think sadness is like something that I hold on very easily.
Yeah.
Anger is like, it's easy to hold on to, it's
Yeah.
easy to grab onto.
Yeah, I understand.
Uh-huh.
Because it defines us in a lot of ways, right?
Mm-hmm. And it feel very relatable.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I know. I don't know. It just, yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good way to end, I guess.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. To grab some of the sadness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
yeah.
would say let it go.
Yeah, that's true though. That's
I
true.
would say let it go.
Mm.
Like Buddha's got this one quote that I really love, and it's like, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Oh, I haven't heard of that quote yet. So
Yeah.
that's that has seems a little bit more profound feeling in.
Yeah, because I do really feel that, like, when you hold on to these things, like, they destroy you a little bit, you know.
Mm.
So yeah, I can only say that because I feel like when I started to let go is really when I understood how I had been destroying myself in the past.
I think anger chip your souls away. So
Yeah, a little bit.
it's a long process of chipping your soul away.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah. Yep.
okay.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks
yeah.
for the chat, Gary.
Yeah, I love fun talking
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.